So, a collaborative effort between TechRaptor and Censored Gaming has compiled all of the many different ways Tokyo Mirage Censorship being censored, or specifically localized. And like Fire Emblem Fates, it's looking rather ridiculous as time went on. Here's a statement by Nintendo themselves on why this game is being censored. It was a priority to ensure the game feels familiar and appeals to the long-time Atlas fans. Any changes made to the in-game content were due to varying requirements and regulations in the many different territories Nintendo distributes its products. So, yes, different regulations and requirements. What are those requirements exactly? The first censorship of the game is probably one of the game's biggest problem, and it lies on pretty much the game having most of the characters to be underage and having all of them to be sexualized. So let's check on the characters that appear in this game. Now, with your own eyes, please answer me this. Do any of these characters look like children? In my observation, they look like teenagers. They're teenagers, at least of high school age. And guess when do people in America start dating and having sex? So with this, we come into the first censorship, the age. Now, thanks to the censorship being done by the age of the characters, this game has universally put every single character in the entire game to be at least of legal age and therefore okay to be sexualized. But why can we still see contents of the game being completely censored? They're all on legal age, so don't censor them. From the different types of censorship going on inside Tokyo Mirage Censorship, we can probably gather in these respective character traits to describe the kind of audience that this amount of censorship thinks that it would please. People who cannot stand miniskirts, people who are negatively affected by poster models, people who are negatively affected by bikini girls, people who cannot look at pseudo nipples, people who don't like to see characters in swimsuits, people who find vagina bones and cleavages disturbing. Now we got all of those character traits appear in our very own eyes. Let's ask and answer some of these questions with a yes, maybe, or no. Do these character traits apply to 90% of America? Do these character traits apply to 90% of gamers? Do these character traits apply to 90% of JRPG fans? Do these character traits apply to 90% of Shin Megami Tensei or Fire Emblem fans? If you have reached to a point where your answer is definitely a no, congratulations! You have finally reached the target audience for this entire game. It's not the population of America, it's not the entire gaming community, but people who love JRPG games, and of course, people who love Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem. So how are we gonna measure the amount of audiences or JRPG fans that are gonna buy this game? Well, we can't really sure, but there is something else that we can do. We can measure the amount of people who are interested on the game by the amount of views of their most viewed trailers. I'm gonna take the trailer of 6 big games in 2016 and compare the views of those with the amount of views of Tokyo Mirage Censorship. Here's the result. As you can see, from the grand total of 33,075,969 views that these trailers gathered, Tokyo Mirage Censorship, at the moment of this writing, only gains 826,277 views. That is only 2.5%. This is probably an accurate representation of the people who are going to buy this game. They're very little. It's a very niche title. So knowing exactly that, the most logical solution is to advertise this game and make it sell. However, knowing that there are only 2.5% of people who are going to buy your game in places other than Japan, how do you think censorship would appeal to the rest of the 98.75% people? Might as well turn this game to Skyrim if you'd like. So why would censorship in video games happen? Well, a lot of people kept saying that it's to appeal to the wider market so that people in that particular country would buy this game because of the cultural differences and all of that. Even though that was pretty much bullcrap, I addressed that in my last video. So how to make people to get attracted into this game? Well, the first simple step is this simple mantra. Make it good. Tokyo Mirage Censorship is very well received in Japan, so as long as it's a good game there, it would probably be a good game here. Probably. So what are the factors that make people to actually buy video games? Well, thankfully, I have a study by ESA right here. The top 5 factors are: number 1, interesting story premise; number 2, price; number 3, word of mouth; number 4, continuation of a favorite series; number 5, familiar to past experiences. Tokyo Mirage Censorship is strong on 2 factors. It can grab the players by the factor 4, and the mere fact that it's a crossover between Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem, and it's familiar to past experiences of JRPG players, which is factor 5. However, factor 3 requires you to actually to get people's attention and get people to talk about this game, which I am indirectly doing right now, but not a lot of people do, so no. The price is about the price of a Wii U game, so it won't exactly turn people on. And interesting story premise, well, it's an anime game. It'll only appeal to the people who love animes and JRPGs. So how to attract people into your game? Well, first of all, you need to make sure that people know about your game. So how to make people to know about your game? Well, there's this little thing in basic economics called marketing. In marketing, you basically show off your product into the mass media and glorify it so that it looks awesome and exciting. This is done so that people who don't know about your product know about your product. The first basic step to attract people to get into your product is to make sure that people know your product. The more people know about your product, the more people are going to talk about that product, and the more people will discuss on whether or not they will buy your product. You're with me so far? Now, you might get on the argument that these games are put in Nintendo and therefore be targeted to children. So we're now concerning about the age of people who play video games. Let's once again examine the data. The ESA study is about as recent as 2015. The study finds out that 26% of people who play video games are under the age of 18, and 100 minus 26, that's 74% of them are well above the age of 18. So no, only a quarter of people who play video games are below 18 years old. In fact, the average age of a gamer is 35 years old. Now, let's examine how low the age demographics are by this Spil study from 2013. 700 million people worldwide play online games. The age found here is about as low as 15, well above the age of consent and old and mature enough to understand what sex is in America. And they're still crushed by the numbers of people who play video games well above that age. For the sake of argument, imagine that 90% of people who play video games are below 18 years old. Guess what? 91% of parents whose children play video games are present when they buy or rent the game. 90% require their children to get permission first. 94% always pay attention to what the child plays. Here are the top 5 reasons why parents play games with their kids. So even if 90% of people who play video games are teenagers and children, almost all of them will get supervision from their parents or their guardians or any of their older relatives. You know, kind of like me with my little brother. Mom, do not waste this chance, Mom. Do not waste this chance. Come on, just kill that guy over there first. Or blow that thing up.
Ah! Oh, that's almost... What?
No! Not this time. But not this time. Wow! So there you go, the 6th night. We have barely even begun the second hour. We have even barely begun the second hour and we already got our ass kicked by Foxy because I am so stupid not to notice Balloon Boy right on the left front. And that was so stupid of me. That was because of him. With all of that data being presented right straight to your face, please do tell me why Tokyo Mirage Censorship is censored again. Underage? Nope. Even if they are, it doesn't matter anyway because you raise their age and it's not even child porn. Differences of culture? Wait, I thought you want diversity. I thought you want multiculturalism. Requirements and regulations? What requirements and regulations? To appeal to more demographics? Yes, censorship would help on the sales of games instead of advertisement or promotions or marketing. Since only 2.5% of gamers are interested in your games, how is this censorship appeal to the rest of the demographic? They'll look at the box art of this game and think, this is an anime game, I won't buy it, and move on with their life. So censoring the content of this game will only piss off the target audiences. Children will play them? Nope. People who play games are at average 35 years old. Only 26% of players are below the age of 18. And even if they are all children, almost all of them will get supervision. So it's not because it's underage, it's not because it's going to be made for children, it's not because of differences of culture, it's not because of regulations, it's not to appeal to the mass audiences. All of these reasons are proven to be completely irrelevant and make absolutely no sense to use as an excuse to censor this game. So let me ask you again, why is this game being censored? The only possible reason that I can think of is to appeal to the kind of people who have these respective character traits. Let's ask the important question. Who are these people? That's all for the video today. If you like this, you can go ahead and click the like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.